okay, yeah, all right. He was technically infected with coronavirus, but it's kind of misleading to say that it was a coronavirus death. That's the more sort of subtle version that they have not corrected for, but at least they're doing their best.
Well, and plus what we reported a year ago or many months ago was how the World Health Organization was, their training was basically telling the practitioners to count deaths using their judgment.
Yeah.
Especially if they weren't lab confirmed corona
there's
cases.
no clinical confirmation of these deaths. It's just kind of like, whoever, you just write it, whatever, check the box or don't, whatever. But if you do, you'll get some more money.
Yeah, it was incentivized with cash, which is another problem. But this is just another one of those things where, things come out,
Yeah.
And they course correct. And nobody's paying attention to this little story because it's only less than a couple thousand people on the list here.
There's one county in California. Yeah. Speaking of another little story, I'll just run through real quick this one.
Sure.
This one is coming from NBCLosAngeles.com. And the headline is temperature checks now thought to be useless to screen for COVID-19.
Really?
Oh, the temperature checks where you had somebody point a gun at your head every time you walked into an airport or a store or anything. It turns out it was useless. Surprise, surprise. When you enter doctors' offices, hospitals, gyms, and many other businesses in Southern California, you will still get your temperature taken before being allowed inside. A method used for over a year to screen people for COVID-19. But now the CDC and some medical experts say temperature screenings are useless and even misleading. Quote, temperature screening will miss many, many people with infections, said Dr. Jeff Klausner.
Oh, it's the other way.
Yes.
It's going to miss the people who are infected. Oh, yes. Okay.
Yeah, see? Which we'll get into the whole breakdown of this, but let's get a few more details. Said Jeff Klausner, a preventative medicine specialist at USC's Keck School of Medicine. But over the course of 2020, the CDC examined cases of 766,044 travelers entering the U.S. who were screened for temperatures and other symptoms. The report says only one case of COVID found for every 85,000 travelers screened. The CDC now concluded, quote, symptom-based screening programs are ineffective. Quote, I think temperature screenings are problematic because many times people can have COVID without a fever, said USC's Dr. Klausner. These are the numbers. Then they go into the numbers for Los Angeles, things like that. Let me skip down just a bit. The NBC4 team has found another problem with temperature screenings, specifically with the accuracy of no-touch thermometers used by most businesses. Last summer, the team's Joel Grover tried out 5 popular no-touch thermometers sold online. With the help of registered nurse Alice Benjamin, a professor at the Charles R. Drew University of Medicine and Science, Nurse Benjamin first took Grover's temperature with a standard oral thermometer, which gave a reading of 98.5 within range considered normal. But 2 of the 5 no-touch thermometers gave reading of about 3 degrees less. That's well out of the range of normal. Yes, they're a corpse. Quote, as a healthcare professional, that concerns me, said Benjamin. Other medical experts also told the team they also have concerns about no-touch thermometers. I think these devices in general are less reliable and less accurate, said Dr. James Lawler of the Global Center for Health Security at the University of Nebraska. Even though the CDC now says temperature checks are ineffective, LA's County Department of Public Health is still recommending that businesses do them. And isn't that just the way California does things? Don't worry, the CDC says everything's fine. CDC says, oh, that's not good. Don't do that. California's like, no, we're going to do whatever we want because we love theater. Movie magic, baby. That could change June 15th when the state of California goes to a full reopening and further update protocols for preventing COVID-19. Quote, I think people got in the habit of doing temperature checks, said Dr. Klausner. He added, quote, it's tough to break a bad habit.
Oh, bad habits like the entire government of California.
Yeah.
And their horrible habit of overstepping their boundaries.
Yeah.
You know what this sounds like to me?
What?
It's Newsome science, baby! Ha!
This is Newsome science. Hey, they don't work, but keep using them.
Yeah.
Until June 15th, the day when things magically reopen for California.
When I can get credit from giving you your freedoms back. Vote for me, Governor Newsom. You know what? This also is kind of connected to the asymptomatic war, you know, and which is then connected to the vaccination war, which is, you know, the asymptomatic thing has gone back and forth so many times. First, it was asymptomatic people killing your grandma and destroying the world for everybody else. Then it was like, oh, well, asymptomatic spread, I mean, according to the actual science and not the politicians, is almost impossible. It's just extremely negligible according to studies that included millions of people. But, you know, it's a little bit harder to instigate complete control over the population if they're not afraid of every single person they see being a silent murderer of their loved ones. So they went back to keep on pushing the asymptomatic spread thing. And I think this thermometer thing is another weapon in the asymptomatic ideology wars. If you're going through the motions, again, California, they just love the idea of getting a gun pointed at their head every time they walk into the grocery store, even though it doesn't work, allegedly. But, you know, it just gives you, it's part of the security theater. We saw with the trauma, the group trauma of 9/11, we all got used to certain useless security protocols, most of them at the airport, which have been proven time and time again to be ineffective at stopping any sort of terrorism. But this is kind of the same thing. Get used to it. Take off your shoes before you go into the airport and let somebody point a gun at your head. It's fine. And there was a lot of criticism about the temperature taking at the very beginning of the pandemic, mostly from sort of fringy conspiracy folks of like, yeah, they're trying to get you into the habit of having a gun pointed at your head and obeying whatever rules they say. And this Dr. Klausner is confirming that exact thing. You know, it's a lot of people. His quote. I think a lot of people got in the habit of doing temperature checks, said Dr. Klausner. He added, it's tough to break a bad habit. So it was a year and a half of instilling trauma-based bad habits into people's brains. And yeah, they're not going to, even though they're useless, they're not going to get away from it. The mind control intensifies.
Yeah. I'm depressed. I just pulled up some articles. This first one from LA Times. COVID-19 state of emergency will last beyond June 15, Newsom says. And then California.
But surely you were not expecting that to actually happen, right?
Yeah, and there's enough people that are rebelling against it anyway. But then California's largest teachers union votes to oppose Newsom recall. Come on, teachers union. And then LA Times, judge and attorney in pivotal Newsom recall lawsuit were former law partners.
Say that one more time.
Judge and attorney in pivotal Newsom recall lawsuit were former law partners.
Oh, that's great. California is great.
Wait, is this good or bad? Hold on. I thought they were former, which means...
Are they former law partners with the prosecution or the defense?
That's what I'm trying to figure out, because it could be really good or really bad. Because if it's moving forward, the people that are in charge of this recall are pro Newsom, then there's a little conflict of interest there.
Mm-hmm. Not that would change anything.
You know, California's probably one of the more corrupt states. Anyway, we don't have to talk about it now.
Probably, he says.
Probably. Yeah. Well, New York's pretty corrupt too.
Yeah. And California is definitely one of the more corrupt states.
I don't know. Chicago or Illinois. Illinois is pretty corrupt.
Just because Illinois is corrupt does not mean California is not corrupt.
I didn't say.
They can all be corrupt. Definitely.
I didn't say California was not corrupt.
I know it's not. I'm just. Oh my gosh! Keep moving.
Okay. All right.
What do we got next?
Moving on here, we have. We're skipping the brain syndrome from Canada, and we are going to Zero Hedge. I get the Zero Hedge article. Virologist who told Fauci SARS-CoV-2 potentially engineered just nuked his Twitter account. And the article reads, and it's gone. This shows the screenshot of K.G. Anderson, who's a script scientist. At least he won't have to keep blocking pesky questions from inquiring minds. And there's a question here from Zero Hedge. Dear Christian Anderson, and at KG Anderson, what exactly in our question prompted you to block us? Because I guess he blocked Zero Hedge. And here's another tweet from Zero Hedge. Dear KG Anderson, can you please explain what, quote, inconsistent with expectations from evolutionary theory or, quote, some features look engineered means? And it has the screenshot of the email sent by Christian Anderson to Fauci, where he mentioned that part of the virus looked potentially engineered. It was sent on January 31st of 2020. A California virologist who told Anthony Fauci that COVID-19 looks potentially engineered and inconsistent with expectations from evolutionary theory, only to reverse course and publish a natural origin paper 8 weeks later before receiving a multi-million-dollar NIH grant, has deleted more than 5,000 tweets. Christian G. Anderson, who runs the Anderson Lab in La Jolla, California, wrote in a February 1st email to Fauci, quote, the unusual features of the virus make up a really small part of the genome, less than 0.1%, so one has to look really closely at all the sequences to see some of the features potentially look engineered, end quote, adding that he and his team found, quote, the genome inconsistent with expectations from evolutionary theory. Anderson was responding to an article sent to him by Fauci exploring the origins of the virus. The next day, Fauci sent an urgent email to his deputy, Hugh, oh boy,
Auchincloss.
I was going to say Auchincloss, with the subject important, writing, Hugh, it is essential that we speak this AM. Keep your cell phone on. Read this paper as well as the email that I will forward you. You'll have tasks today that must be done.
Ooh, that's a firm master, Fauci is.
The document attached was titled, quote, Barik Shi et al. Nature Medicine SARS Gain of Function PDF. So, right after one of Fauci's trusted scientific advisors suggests COVID-19 could be man-made, parenthetical, while Fauci and associates publicly dismissed the possibility as a conspiracy theory, he shot a research paper concerning gain-of-function research, which Fauci was funding at the Wuhan Institute of Virology, to his deputy. And now Anderson has deleted more than half of his tweets. Bad words. People upset that his stuff is deleted. Radical centrist, wrathful tantric deity tweeted out, Soup's weird that Christian deleted his anti-Lab Leak reply here after he saw my thread above. And then it shows her thread kind of going after him.
He's trying to clean up the evidence that he was towing the Fauci line and getting paid for it.
Yeah. Anderson claims that his old tweets are, quote, auto-deleted. What?
Sure.
Which would suggest a rolling automated process, not the sudden disappearance of over 5,000 tweets preceding March 7th, 2021. Another tweet from some guy named CHT Prometheus AM. This is a lie because all tweets preceding March... Oh, just saying that the whole auto-delete thing is a lie. The deleted tweets come as internet sleuths begin to unravel Anderson's involvement with Fauci and the NIH. More tweets here. I don't know if they're worth reading.
No, not really. I think we get the point. Yeah, this Christian Anderson guy's in a bit of a panic, I think.
Little